Sublimation socks are a hot commodity lately, and so many of you have been asking, where do I find them, how do I create them, and are they good for sales? So today I'm going to cover everything you need to know, including a step-by-step tutorial. So make sure you hit subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads, and I'm not going to waste any time. Let's get right to it. Before we get to the actual tutorial portion, there's a few things we need to cover. The socks we will be working with today are the streetwear crew style from Silky Socks. The Silky Socks brand is 95% polyester, 5% spandex, so they're actually super comfortable and almost feel like cotton. It's one of my favorite brands. As you know, it does have to be a polyester material for the sublimation ink to adhere onto it, so these socks are perfect. The crew set does retail for $3.50, and you could probably sell these for about $7 to $10 depending on your location and where you are looking to sell. They do offer bulk prices in 6 and 12 packs, and this bulk price is on each individual pair. The last thing you should know is they do come from small all the way to extra large, so they're going to cover all of the bases here. That's basically everything that you need to know about the socks, so let's slide in and learn just how to create these. This is everything you will need for the project. Starting on the left-hand side, you will need some blank copy paper or butcher's paper. You will of course need your designs, and I recommend 2 full sheets. A measuring tape or roller, a lint roller, scissors, cardboard, or if you have a jig that goes into your socks, you do not need the cardboard, a pen, and of course your socks. The only thing that I forgot to add into this photo is heat transfer tape, and you will see why that is so important later in the video. There are a variety of heat presses on the market that you can choose to use. For sublimation, I prefer to use this TransPro 15x15. I'm showing you here that it does have a manual pressure adjustment, so sublimation needs medium to firm pressure. Earlier in the tutorial, you heard me mention a jig. That is a piece of cardboard that goes in between your sock. It protects the sock, but it also gives it a firm base to press your material onto. They do stretch out your material a little bit to ensure that the pattern seeps into it and doesn't have any weird wrinkles. Personally, I'm a budget queen, so I'm not purchasing an extra jig, although they are not super expensive. I just like to do this method anyways. If you have a blank piece of cardboard just laying around, you can measure your sock, and as you see here, this is about 3.5 inches wide. I'm going to add about a 1/2 inch just to really spread everything out, but you don't want it spread out too far that it truly stretches out your design. On the sheet of cardboard, I marked 3 different spots at 4 inches. That way, when I lay my tape measure straight down, I can get a true line that is going to be just about 4 inches the entire width. At this point, you grab your scissors and you can cut this apart. You can redo this over and over and over again, and it is going to save you a bit of money on those jigs for each project, but like I did mention, they are not super expensive. For me, I just happen to have a lot of cardboard laying around, so why not take a couple extra minutes and save the coin? There are a few ways that I have seen socks pressed, and I'm going to show you both methods today. Method number 1 is the way Silky Socks recommend you pressing their materials, so we're going to start with their method. As you can see, it looks a little bit different because they do come pressed on their side. However, you do want to flip them so you're looking at them from the front angle and the back angle. Then you will simply spread these apart and put it over top of your jig. This is going to take just a little bit of patience here, but you don't want anything to look stretched out, wonky. You would like to get those lines as straight as possible. In the top and bottom, you also want them to be pretty parallel and not too warped, because the way that your material lays is the way that your design is going to press into it. I'd also like to add, if you have a wide scale sublimation printer, you can actually sublimate this entire sock. However, I only use a converted office size printer, which is why I only do the top section of this sock. Anyways, back to the original content. This is my first pattern of design. Now, you might be looking at this thinking, how are we going to get this on both sides of the sock? Simple. First, we need to start by cutting out around it. And if you look at the margins on the side, it did cut those off. For me personally, I don't want anything looking cut off because then it looks like a quote unquote seam. So what I like to do is go into this design. It does take a little bit of time. You can opt out and do this, but I think it makes the design look a bit more professional. What I do is cut off those harsh lines and just make it look like it is a solid pattern. Here is a little side note for designs. You can go in here with a solid design that does not have a transparent background and press it onto your material. I have done that in the past, and I believe over on TikTok we do have a little tutorial on that. However, over the years, I do prefer these patterns with the transparent background because when you press them onto the material, it doesn't necessarily look like it has been pressed. It almost looks like it was just automatically there with the material. Now, everybody is going to have their own creative preferences, and one is not better than the other. But this way, I think, is a bit easier, especially for beginners. But you'll have to let me know in the comments, what is your personal preference? Once you have the outside border apart, you will go through the center and kind of do the same exact thing. That way we have a piece for each side of the sock. Now you're going to set one to the side, and we are just going to worry about the front portion here. I do like to line it up and make sure that it's going to cover most of the surface. But at the bottom there, I need a little bit straighter of a line. That way it's going to line up with the bottom of that sock. Then once everything is cut to size, you can go in with your heat transfer tape. Please listen up. Do not ever use Scotch tape or painter's tape or anything that is not heat resistant, or it is going to ruin your projects. Don't ask me how I know. I don't even want to admit how many times I've done it. You'll notice that I am using copy paper to protect both my heating press and element. You can use butcher paper or copy paper. I do protect both the design and the portion of the sock that is left out. Because this is high temperature, I do not want to risk that white colored sock getting any scorching marks, which are those yellow stains that you really can't get rid of. Please do not double use your copy paper and or butcher paper. It does have a little bit of ink on it, and it is going to saturate into your next press, which is going to be a big issue. Now that we have one side of our design complete, it is time to turn it over and get ready to press the second. Basically, we're going to follow the same exact method. Make sure that everything is lined up, that you have a pretty straight bottom edge, and then tape everything down with heat-resistant tape only. Now, I know I have it on the screen, but I would like to say that these socks are recommended to be pressed at 400 degrees for 30 to 35 seconds. Personally, I know the longer that my heat press sits on, the hotter it gets. Even though it tells me it's at 400 degrees, I know it's always about 5 to 10 degrees more. So I like to set my press at 390 degrees for 35 seconds. Both sides are going to be pressed at the same time and temperature, and once complete, your sock is ready to go. At the end of the tutorial, I will do a side-by-side comparison of both methods, but for a quick overview, this is what method number 1 will look like upon completion. It does look like there's a bit of a seam, but once washed, these are going to look very seamless. On to method number 2. So when these socks come in, they do come in folded just like this. So for me, I thought, oh, this is how I should be pressing it, until I did a bit of research and found out that actually you should be pressing them from the front. But let's give this a go because I know a lot of other creators use the same exact method. For me, you're going to set it up basically the same with your design. Make sure that the bottom portion is rather straight so that everything lines up. But on this side, you are going to see there are a few blank spaces. I'm going to go back to some of those little pieces that we cut off previously and just add those in. This way, I don't have to go back and print an entirely new page and waste sublimation ink and paper. As you know, it is not the cheapest. Then once everything is complete and you have things filled up, go in with your heat transfer tape and make sure nothing is going to budge. Once again, grab out the copy paper, protect both your sock, your heating element, and your mat, and then press. My favorite thing about sublimation, especially when it comes to socks or gloves or even underwear, is the fact that it adheres right to the fibers. So when you touch this sock, there is no feeling other than just the sock, which is great. It doesn't feel like vinyl, there's nothing sticky or heavy on top of it, and it makes this super breathable and lightweight. Let's do a side-by-side comparison. On the right is method number 1, and on the left is method number 2. Looking at method 1 straight on, you don't initially see a seam. The seams are kind of hidden on the side, and actually when you look at them, it doesn't seem like there is too much of a seam. Yes, there is a little bit of a negative space, but if I would have caught that, we probably could have threw an extra heart in there and completely disappeared. Now, with method number 2, because we press that with the front being the seam, it's almost the first thing that your eye catches is like, hey, there's blank space there. I personally would rather have the seams on the side than on the front. Now that you've seen a side-by-side comparison, let me know in the comments below which method you think looks more appealing, and if you have any additional tips for any of us sock creators. As you can see, the prepping and pressing process is not hard, it just takes a little bit of patience. Since it's sublimation, of course it's going to be a bit finicky, but you're going to be perfect in no time. I promise. Just continue to practice. Once again, I would love to thank you for being here today. Let me know in the comments down below, what was the number 1 takeaway that you got from this video, and what are future tutorials that you look forward to seeing? Like always, my name is Kaylee, and I am here to help you. and to mitigate the trial and error process so that you're not scratching your head wondering, what the heck am I doing, like I was in the beginning. Anyways, I would personally love to invite you to join our creative community, and all of my creative resources are linked down below. Anyways, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will be uploading on Tuesday. See you then.